there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of Reddit Podcast Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Demand I lower the rent? Not gonna happen. After that, am I the jerk for letting my sister walk me down the aisle? And after that, should I keep my wife's promise to take care of her parents? Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen does not get her rent lowered. Landlords, wee! So please smash that like button. And subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Demand I lower the rent? Not gonna happen. I let someone live in my house for free while he tried to get his dream job. Well, he got it a week ago and won't stop reminding me how he's taking a pay cut for this job. It's a huge room with private bath, private balcony, 2 sliding door closets, and an additional walk-in storage closet in the hallway. There's central air and heat, the fastest internet my address can get, and 2 outdoor spaces. There's a laundry room. The hardwood flooring is brand new. We agreed the rent would start after he got his new job. He told me repeatedly, "Once I get this job, I can pay rent like a normal tenant, no problem." He got the offer over a week ago for the new job. I told him this week the lease would start on March 15th and rent would be $1,350 with internet and all utilities included. And he balked at that price. I told him fine, that we could do 3 months at $1,000 and then 9 months at $1,350 with all utilities included. Nope, he's still balking at that price. His reasoning is because he has to buy a $15,000 car and it has to be a used Prius. I encouraged him to buy a cheaper car and widen the brands and models that he's considering, but he refuses because a Prius with specific options is his perfect car. I have never spent that much on a car. He acts like because I own a home, I must be rich. I'm 1 mile west of SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. My tenants in 2012 paid $1,250 a month, so I have only increased the rent by $100 in 11 years and he's still complaining. I worked hard to buy this house, 80 to 100 hours a week for all of my 20s, and I work hard now to maintain it. You can't find a private room with private bath anywhere near me for the price I'm offering him. The only cheaper place near me is a dormitory-style house where 4 adults share 1 bedroom, 2 bunk beds for $750. I do think that's outrageous and believe what I'm offering is more than fair. I feel like telling him, if you think you can find a better deal, then go do it. He's acting like I'm a jerk for not lowering the rent. Am I the jerk for taking this position? Am I being the jerk for refusing to reduce the rent? Edit. Thank you everyone who responded. Even the "you're the jerk" replies were helpful. I am a people pleaser. I've been working on it in therapy, and I've had a hard time saying no. I've rented this room out many times for free or extremely reduced rates in the past for people needing help getting back on their feet without issue and did not expect a situation like this to come up. A few people mentioned that I'm price gouging, but it's the opposite. I'm offering the lowest rent you can find in my area. I've received several messages and DMs from Redditors asking to take the space or inquiring for a friend. It may seem high to people living in other areas, but this really is an amazing deal. I know how hard it is to survive in today's world, and this has been my way of giving back. I do perform other community service, like handing out blankets and umbrellas on rainy days or stocking the community refrigerator. But a place to live is the most important thing underprivileged and underserved people need. I will think about how I do this moving forward to better protect myself. Several people provided links about ending his stay, and I am grateful. California does have larger laws, California Civil Code, pertaining to people who rent out a single room in their house that they also live in. I did not want to go this route and demand that he leave, but I feel like I must in order to protect myself. Everyone sucks here. Stop negotiating based on his financial decisions like you're his life partner and calculate the fair market rent for the room. His money is his to manage. He can get himself a used Prius if he wants to, and he can rent a room from you if he wants to. If he can't do both, it's his responsibility to pick one and figure out an alternative for the other. It's not your responsibility to advise on or plan around that choice. Yes, you're the jerk for profiting on housing. No jerks here. As much as I'd like to shoot down a landlord, you do seem to be a fairer one. I think your tenant just needs a reminder of what the rental market is like at the moment. That hardly makes them or you the jerk. Info. Who is this someone? A random dude? Seems strange to let someone stay rent-free with no formal agreement in place, including the discussion of what rent would be after he found this job. You're the jerk for being a landlord with no sense. You're the jerk. That's an absurd amount of money for what he's getting. I had a 2-bedroom apartment to myself in a downtown location for $1,200. You're offering 1 room, amenities, and a roommate situation. Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk or is the tenant? Please let us know. I think the real jerks are these bozos on Reddit who think all landlords are the devil. Oh, it's not their fault, Karen. They're just products of our failed educational system. Am I the jerk for letting my sister walk me down the aisle? I, 23 female, was raised by my older half-sister who's 32. I never met my dad, and our mom passed when I was 10 and my sister was 19. My sister's dad was still in her life and was willing to support her, but not me. My sister chose to be my guardian, and her father's family went low contact with her as a result. In order to raise me, she gave up a lot: her relationship with her father, college, her 20s, and so much more. A few months ago, I got engaged, and I told my sister that in addition to being my maid of honor, I also wanted her to be the one to walk me down the aisle. All my life, she's had to fulfill so many roles for me: big sister, mother, father, friend, that it only felt right that those multiple roles be honored on one of my biggest days of my life. My sister was ecstatic, and so was I. But when I brought it up with my fiancé, he objected. My future in-laws are very traditional, and my fiancé had always expected that his wedding would be a very traditional wedding. He said that it was great that my sister was my maid of honor, but that her having 2 roles wasn't, and that it wasn't appropriate for her to walk me down the aisle since that's usually done by the father. Apparently, his family had assumed that my future father-in-law would be the one to walk me down the aisle since I don't have any male relatives. I told him that I appreciate his father being willing to do that for me, but that the one who made me the person I am today is my sister, so it's right that she be the one to give me away. It turned into an argument that spread to my in-laws. My mother-in-law called me a few days ago to say that although she understands how important my sister is to me, that it's also my fiancé's wedding and I shouldn't be putting my sister before him on his day. I definitely heard her on that, but this is still important to me. At this point, my sister has even said that she doesn't mind just being the maid of honor and that she doesn't want to turn my happy day into something stressful. So now it's just me holding out and being stubborn, but I really don't want to concede on this point. Am I being the jerk here? Edit. I did not expect this to blow up like it has and haven't been able to read through all of your verdicts and comments yet, but I want to clarify on some of the inquiries that I've seen repeated so far. Are the in-laws contributing to the wedding? Yes. In fact, they're paying for about 75% of it since I'm still in school and I don't have the money to put towards a wedding the scale that fiancé wanted. Does your fiancé have sisters? No, he has 2 younger brothers. Did he ask your sister for your hand? He did, actually. She also helped him custom design the engagement ring. She showed me their group text, and at one point they spent 3 weeks trying to decide between 5 different diamonds. Maybe I should just propose with an infinity gauntlet. It was very sweet and cute. What about when you have kids? Have you talked about having kids? Because of a medical condition, I'm infertile, though neither of us feel a particular strong urge to be parents anyway. But we also know we're still young and that may change. But even if it does, it would be very far in the future. Could you walk down the aisle by yourself? That was my sister's suggestion when she said she was fine just being the maid of honor, but I rejected it. Because of her, I never walked alone on the worst days of my life, so I'm definitely not going to walk alone on the happiest. Not the jerk. And this is a hill to die on in my opinion. How is it that you're holding out and being stubborn? Couldn't you say that about your fiancé? He wants to take away something meaningful to you because he wants things to appear his way. That's entirely self-serving. You're not putting your sister before him. You're putting her on your side, right where you want her. This is weird controlling behavior on your fiancé's part, and it gives me a very bad vibe about him and his family. What happens down the road when or if you decide to have kids? If you pick out a kid's name, does he get to veto that and replace it with a name of his choosing too? What's your role going to be in the household, and is that okay with you? I'm not saying to end things over this disagreement, but do take a good look at where you are and where you're heading before going forward. OP. I guess I started feeling like I was being stubborn when my sister also suggested that I drop it. I was the only one fighting my side of the fight, and everyone else was coming at me with, I understand, but, and it made me feel like I was the unreasonable one. That's why I came here, to get some unbiased opinions. Your sister is trying to cause you as little stress as possible, and if that means she has to step back from something she clearly wants to do, then she'll do it. It will hurt her, but she will do it to save you from stress and pain. She's already shown she will sacrifice herself to keep you happy and healthy. I would gladly die on this hill if the person I'm marrying said he gets to choose who walks me down the aisle. Not the jerk. 1. What a wonderful way to honor your sister and the roles that she's played in your life. 2. Your partner's inability to grasp something so significant to you is disturbing. 3. The fact that your mother-in-law and probably your partner think that you're putting yourself ahead of his or their feelings would make me run from them all. Not the jerk. Honestly, him running to his family and them coming after you on his behalf makes me a little hesitant about your current communication and conflict resolution within your relationship. You clearly have an imbalance of family support. I'm worried you're going to be completely crushed under their collective weight. Are you always going to have to give in because they get a vote and outnumber you? Well, who do you think's in the right? OP or her fiancé? Please let us know.
Anyone can show you their true colors, but it's up to you to see them for who they really are.
Should I keep my wife's promise to take care of her parents? My wife passed 3 years ago in an accident. I'm now a single father to our 3 kids, who are 11, 8, and 5. It's been incredibly difficult providing for them by myself, but they've never wanted for anything a day in their life. Thanks to therapy and a good support system, they're happy, healthy, and thriving. In my wife's culture, it's customary for kids to take care of their parents in their old age. Her parents very much expected this of her. This was something my wife talked to me extensively about before and during our marriage. Actually, it was something we fought about a lot, because I felt that our focus should be on our kids and doing everything we could to give them a good life. My wife wanted to house her parents in our home, but I disagreed for multiple reasons, such as cost and lack of living space. We eventually agreed to help them pay for a condo or other living arrangements, but not house them. Sadly, we never got a chance to figure out exactly how that would work. Her parents, her mom specifically, took my wife's passing hard and fell into depression. She pretty much became a recluse, and neither her nor my father-in-law have been very involved in our lives since her passing. However, my father-in-law recently retired and reached out to me about honoring my wife's promise to help take care of them in their old age. I flat out told him that I cannot honor that promise. He got upset and told me that this was something that his daughter had promised him and his wife, and as her husband, it is now my responsibility to keep that promise. I told him that I have 3 kids to provide for, and I do not have the time, energy, or money to provide for 2 more people. He told me I was disgracing my wife's honor and memory, and that he knew it was a mistake for her to marry outside of her culture. He called me again a few days later and tried to apologize for what he said. He told me that he acted irrationally and that he's sure we can work something out that will be beneficial for everyone. I asked him what he meant by that, and he said that he and his wife could come live with us so that I have help with the kids and I can still honor my wife's promise to her parents. I again flat out told him no. I told him that I've managed fine the past 3 years without their help and I'll continue to do fine. I told him his proposal is only beneficial to them, not to me in any way. He again tried to tell me that I need to do this to honor his daughter's memory, as this was something that she promised to him and his wife. I told him that sadly, that promise had ended with his daughter. He said something to me in his native language that I'm assuming from his tone was not a compliment and hung up on me. They've been minimally involved in our lives since her passing. Their needs are so far down my priority list, but I'm torn because I hate feeling like I'm letting my wife down in any way, even if she's not here anymore. Widow here. My late husband's mother is a single older woman with 2 living daughters. However, she believed my husband and I would build a tiny home on our land for her and care for her and support her in her old age. We have an elementary-aged kid. I was never on board with this plan, and neither was my husband. But he did ask me to look out for his mom after he passed. He got sick, so we had time to talk through all of this. By looking out for her, he meant stay in her life, check on her, and be there in the event of an emergency. After he passed, his mother went absolutely feral on me, making heinous accusations, blaming me for stealing her son from her, and promising me that she would never forgive me for being the one her son loved more than her. It's been almost 4 months since he passed, and I've cut her from my life. I feel guilty sometimes, but I'm a widow in my early 30s with a kid to provide for. I cannot sacrifice my peace or my time with my kid to care for a fully grown adult who failed to plan for her own future and who has been an absolute monster to me. All this to say, as someone in a similar situation, your priorities are your kid and yourself. You matter. Your needs matter. You are categorically not the jerk. They abandoned their daughter's kids for 3 years. They've only resurfaced because they want something from you. Truly, you're not the jerk. Don't feel bad for one more second. Care for yourself and your family. I wish you all the best, and I'm so sorry for your loss. Not the jerk. Odd that he didn't take this up with you until after he made the choice to retire and stop supporting himself. Apparently, it also didn't occur to him that you had only one income rather than two, so you might have had to try to take care of more than just your immediate family. Am I the jerk for uninviting my mother-in-law for my wedding after she tried to sabotage my wedding dress? My future mother-in-law has never been a fan of me, I'm 26, female, for the entire duration of mine and my fiance's, who's 29, male, relationship. I'm honestly not sure why it is that she's always disliked me and has been cold to me, but after multiple attempts over the years to build some type of relationship with her, we've been together for 4 years, nothing has worked. She couldn't give two hoots about me up until the wedding planning started a few months ago. My fiance and I are paying for the majority of our wedding ourselves, while my dad and stepmom are financial contributing as well. Mother-in-law and father-in-law have not contributed at all, but mother-in-law is giving her opinions on things as if she's footing the bill.
You should make the themes this color. Make sure you have this dish on the menu to be served. Don't do an open bar. You don't want people being too rowdy. Make sure me, my sister, and my cousins are sitting in the front row at the wedding ceremony,
etc., etc. My fiance and I are absolutely sick of this. Every time she tries to give an opinion, we politely shut it down and tell her we have it under control, but she just never gets the hint. Before she became such a nightmare, I regretfully invited her to come dress shopping because I didn't want her to feel left out. Well, a few weeks ago, we went dress shopping. My mom and close friends came too, and I found my dream wedding dress. I have a curvy hourglass figure, and I found a dress that shows off my figure perfectly and makes me feel gorgeous. The dress is kind of revealing, low cut and mermaid style, but it's nothing I'd be ashamed of my family and friends seeing me in. My mother-in-law, on the other hand, hated the dress I chose. She made sure to express to me multiple times. She even went as far as to say,
"This is a wedding, not a dance club. I don't like it."
Well, I bought the dress anyway, since I'm the one who's paying for it after all. Last night, my fiance and I are cleaning up after dinner, and I received a call from the shop I ordered my dress from. They were calling me concerned, because apparently a lady, my mother-in-law, called them pretending to be me and wanted to switch the dress I chose to a more appropriate one. The sales associate realized that it wasn't my phone number that called to make the change, and called me immediately to confirm before they changed the order. I was livid. My fiance heard the entire conversation and was also livid. He called his mom to confront her, and she fessed up, after denying it a few times. I told her if she's so bothered by my dress to consider herself uninvited from the wedding, and I hung up on her. Safe to say, she's not happy. She's been calling both my husband and I nonstop, trying to defend herself, but I've had enough. I feel bad for my fiance because he won't get to have his planned dance with her. Did I take it too far? Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. I would have done the same thing. But you and your fiance need to be in lockstep on this. So if he is, or starts hedging, don't go through with the wedding until you are both on the same page. You need to get these boundaries in place now, because mother-in-law will be a nightmare if you have kids, if you don't already. This is the easiest not the jerk ever. 1, this isn't her wedding. 2, she isn't paying for anything, let alone the dress. 3, she seems like a confrontational person to begin with. Time to have fun at your wedding without having to worry about her ruining it by being there. Lie about your natural hair color? Have fun with an awful dye job. My wife, 22 female, and I, 22 male, got my little sister, who's 12, some semi-permanent red hair dye for Christmas. She really wanted it and was really looking excited to using it on herself and her cousins. The hair dye is bright red, assuming you're light blonde or bleached, but sister has dark brunette hair, so the dye becomes a dark burgundy on her. Everything that follows is what she told me. I wasn't there for any of it. Sister brought her hair dye to family Christmas at Grandma's so she could share it with our plethora of cousins. One of our cousins, Anna, who's 16, is pretty entitled. She's a compulsive liar and a manipulator. I keep my audio recording app handy on my phone when I'm around her should I have to use it because I don't trust her. Anna asked sister to have her hair dyed. Anna obviously has had her hair bleached to a medium light or light blonde. Sister asked Anna, "Is your hair bleached or dyed? If it is, then it's going to turn out really bright and look crazy." Anna said, "No, what? Haha, this is my natural hair color." This is where the malicious compliance comes in. Sister and my other cousin share a knowing look before getting to work. After they let the paste sit for a reasonable amount of time, they wash it out. Instead of pretty mauve accents like in Sister's hair, the back of Anna's hair looks like a bright, clowny, patchy mashup. Anna's response, I kid you not, was to look surprised and say, "Oh yeah, I did bleach my hair. I totally forgot this wasn't my natural hair color." At this moment, Anna's mother came in and was not happy. Anna wanted to take even more dye from my sister to try and even out the clown hair she had given herself, but Anna's mom stood up for my sister and wouldn't let her take any more. This dye is only semi-permanent, but it will still take 10 to 15 shampoos to be fully washed out. I only learned all this because I took my sister out on a breakfast date after New Year's. I was worried that Anna had bullied Sister into using as much hair dye as she did. When I asked about it, it turns out Sister just wanted to let Anna pay for her obvious lie. Edit to clarify some things. Okay, so it seems like some things are being missed or misunderstood. I had nothing to do with any of the actual malicious compliance. I simply got my little sister the gift she asked for. I didn't dye anyone's hair, and I didn't record any of this. I'm retelling my sister's and other cousins' retelling of the events. I'm not recording any video or audio of every interaction I have with Anna. In fact, I don't even see her that much. I mostly avoid her. For those of you accusing me of being a creep and calling this a self-report, that's a new one for me. Not totally sure how to respond other than saying read the story end to end. Maybe you're missing something. A lot of people are saying I made this up. I did not. I saw parts of this as it happened, and my sister filled me in on the rest. A couple of you were judging me for being married at 22 and even rooting for a future divorce in the comments. My wife and I are currently very happy, but I will let you guys know if divorce ever comes. Neighbors have been using my driveway to access their property. I bought a house with a very weird driveway situation. The previous owner owned 2 houses next to each other, sold one to me, and kept the other. My property has 2 driveways, one on the north for a detached garage and one on the south for my house. Their property has no driveway of its own to connect to the street, so when the previous owner sold the place, he drafted an easement for them to use the northern driveway only. My southern driveway also connects to the neighbor's property, and they have a 4-car paved section that they park their cars on. They access this by using my house's driveway, not covered by an easement, so no maintenance agreement for their use. I didn't want to cause problems with the neighbors right off the bat, so I let them continue to use it. They use it 3 times as much as I do. He seems pretty put off that he could no longer park cars on my property, but was thankful to use the driveway since, if I didn't allow it, he would be down 4 parking spaces. They are tenants. The owner, and previous owner of my house, is a jerk who has 4 families in a 4-bedroom house. There's 12 cars, 4 of which are inoperable, 3 boats, one of which is the landlord's, and a motorcycle between them. This guy has real anger issues though. He constantly speeds through my driveway going backwards between my parked cars. I asked him to please slow down and he agreed, but he can't help himself. Recently, he's also started parking his cars on my property when the street sweeper is coming through. I have tenants renting rooms who are concerned about the noise and the safety of their vehicles. I'm tired of feeling on edge. Last weekend, he absolutely floored it down my driveway, peeling out. I got mad and put a planter in the driveway to block it off. He lost it, moved the planters, and continued on. He came at me absolutely rabid. His wife came out and started going off on me. I tried to de-escalate and told them that I'd be putting in a fence in a week to block it off, to give him time to figure out a parking solution. They can still use the north driveway covered by the easement. He's upset because he felt entitled to keep using my private driveway, and now he's flooring it every time he comes and goes. I'm in fear for my tenant's vehicle safety as well as my own physical safety, as this guy is clearly unstable. I'm tired of feeling taken advantage of by their use and so disrespected by his behavior. I feel I have no choice but to stand up for myself in this situation. I've been beyond patient, but I need to act if his behavior is scaring my tenants. I also have mild PTSD from living next to a house where I experience similar aggressive behavior daily. I'm fearful of what might happen next weekend when I build the fence. Should I call a friend to come over and help? What would you do? I would definitely have at least one friend there when putting up the fence. Also, record video of it, in case problems come up during the build. Put up a no trespassing sign immediately. Install cameras facing that driveway and anywhere else appropriate, in case they retaliate against the vehicles that park there legally or if he tampers with the fence. You can also use them to enforce trespassing charges. Document every interaction with this neighbor in case you need it for later. For instance, if you need to get a restraining order. Good luck. Karen tried to control my diet, so I kicked her out. My friend Jen got laid off a couple of months ago. She's currently staying with me to save money until she finds a new job. Jen believes her being overweight has caused her to have low confidence, which then caused her to lose her job. Therefore, she decided to go on a diet to lose weight. I'm in full support of her decision, as I figured, regardless of her reasons, it can't be wrong to lose weight and be healthy. Jen downloaded an app that tells her what to eat and what to not eat, and she is not supposed to eat candy and other sweets. I like sweets, but to support her, I've stopped having cakes, milkshakes, etc. at home. The only sweets I have at home are candies. She said to me that candies were too enticing to her and I should get rid of them. But I need candies. They help me concentrate while I'm working. I work from home, and candies have been part of my diet for years. To accommodate her needs, I told her that I would not eat candies in front of her, and I would keep my candy in my bedroom, which she should not have access to. She got upset, saying I was not being a supportive friend, but I said I was being supportive, as I have made enough accommodations to make sure that no foods forbidden by her diet were accessible or visible to her. She was still pouting. This morning, when I came back from my daily run, I found her in my bedroom searching for stuff. I asked her what she's doing. She said she needed to find my junk foods and throw them away. This was completely unacceptable to me. For one, we agreed when she moved in that she should not enter my bedroom without my permission. I don't have a big apartment, and my bedroom is the only place where I can have some privacy. And she breached that agreement. And two, I do not believe she has the right to throw away any of my belongings. At this point, I told her if she couldn't respect my space and my routine, which do not affect her, she needed to leave. She threw a fit, accusing me of abandoning her at her most difficult time. But I explained that I wasn't kicking her out for no reason and that she's welcome to stay, but she would need to respect my boundaries. Am I the jerk here? Update. Thank you everyone for your comments. I really appreciate your insights. After our argument this morning, Jen went somewhere to clear her head. She just returned and we had a conversation. She asked me if I really wanted to kick her out. I said not exactly. My intention was mainly to remind her of my boundaries, but if those boundaries keep being breached, I would really need her to leave. She said she understood, but she realized that her staying here for too long would jeopardize our friendship, and she would not want that. She will find another solution to her living situation. Not the jerk in any way. You were nice enough to host your friend while she tries to get back on her feet. You were also kind enough to accommodate her requests about junk food in common and shared spaces. The violation of your privacy by going into your room in and of itself would be enough to kick her out. This is on her. OP. Thank you. She wasn't happy when I told her that she couldn't enter my bedroom without asking, because before she moved in, she was allowed to do whatever she wanted when she visited me. But it's different this time. She basically lives here now. I need to set some boundaries to protect my privacy. She could not be more wrong and has completely violated your privacy. What you eat is none of her business. You actually shouldn't have even given up what you did, cakes and milkshakes. You were too nice, and that might have been slightly enabling to her kind of crazy. Part of her weight loss journey is going to be learning how to live in a world full of food she chooses not to eat. Also, I don't believe she was going through your room trying to throw that stuff out. She was going to eat it. Not the jerk. My boyfriend and my brother lied to me for 8 years. Context and a very short version. When I was 17, I was in a relationship with my twin brother's best friend, Jake. It lasted 8 years till we were all finished with college and my ex had gotten enough money off his extremely religious parents to get a head start in life. If you don't know where this is going, my brother and Jake were together the whole time and used me as a cover because my feelings didn't matter. My brother had been out since his teens, which is why they came up with the idea to use me so his parents wouldn't get suspicious. My parents were angry with my brother, even cut contact for a year, but they all made up and have been pushing for us to speak since. I refused to speak to my brother due to how they dismissed me when everything came out. Jake literally said, "You wouldn't understand. I had no other choice." My brother was worse. Like, I get where Jake was coming from because his parents are nuts, but I didn't deserve to be treated like that. It's been 5 years since everything came out. I'm currently pregnant with twins with my soon-to-be husband. My brother and Jake moved back to our hometown last year, They have both been trying via my family and friends, even coworkers, to get me to talk. My mother begged me to sit down like an adult and don't let the past ruin my son's chance at having a relationship with our uncle. That my grudge I have against my sibling is ruining our family and my mental health. A few hours ago, I stopped by for lunch and to show my parents scanned photos. Guess who was there? The happy couple. I was literally in shock for a few minutes. Then when my brother tried to hug me, I pushed him away. I got so worked up, I physically couldn't stop shaking at this. My brother and Jake tried to apologize, talked about what happened, and begged for a relationship. I was in tears and begged them to leave me alone. In the end, my brother handed me a letter and said, "I really wish things could be different. You're my sister, my twin. I do love you, and it hurts me that we don't have each other anymore." So basically, I'd lost it, ripped up the letter, screaming that we weren't family, and I just want him to leave me alone. I walked out after that and had to get a taxi home because I was too upset to drive. Since then, my parents and family members have told me I'm cruel and bitter and that I need to stop living in the past and get over it. Hey guys, I won't be replying anymore because I'm very emotional and don't feel well. Not due to anyone in this sub, you're all amazing, but someone gave my brother my number, and with my family's non-stop calls, I'm gonna have to turn my phone off for my own sake. And before anyone asks, my fiance said in the family group, if anyone shows up at our home, they'd better hope the cops get there before he answers the door. I'd like to answer a few questions a lot of people keep asking before I go. After 8 years, why didn't you see any signs? Basically, my brother and ex were always close, and I obviously never thought that they'd do something like that to me. Like, your brother is meant to protect you from the bad guys. What kind of relationship did you and Jake have? We lived together for 2 years, and we did everything a normal couple does, so I hope that clears up a lot of curiosity. Why are you more angry at your brother than Jake? I will never forgive Jake, but I did and still do pity his situation with his parents. The reason I'm more angry at my twin brother should be obvious. What do you plan to do with your parents? As of now, I will go no contact till my babies are born, and at least 3 months old so I can be in the right headspace. Are you in therapy? Yes, it helped me love myself again and trust people. I'm in a way better place than I was a few years ago. Not the jerk. I feel sorry for Jake with his parents, but what he and your brother did to you is horrible. They betrayed your trust, both as a romantic partner and as a sibling. If they had told you the truth at age 16, you might have even offered to be a cover. But instead, they chose to lie to you for 8 years. No one, not your brother, not your parents, no one gets to determine when you should be over it. You are not obliged to accept any apology ever. And tell your parents if they can't respect your feelings and your decision, they will no longer be part of you or your children's lives.
Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video.
Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.